Settlers of Catan gameplay number 11. This is a 3-player match. I wish I could figure out what the ELO rankings of these players are at the very beginning of the game. All I see is their experience points, which is listed as 20, which really doesn't do a whole lot for me, considering pretty much everybody you play against after a certain stage is going to be level 20. Anyway, so if there's somebody out there that knows how to see the elo at the beginning of the game, that would be, or even throughout the game, that would be helpful. Happened to find out afterwards that Ayu, I'm not sure how you say his name, but he is a little bit above me. I think I'm 1200 elo in this match, and out to live is in the 1100s. So it doesn't really mean all that much. It just means that they haven't hit a certain level yet. I think once you hit 1200, you kind of bump up to the next category, Grandmaster, whatever it may be. So at any rate, let's take a look at where these guys have placed. Now, 3-player matches are fun because the board is typically very open, and you can be pretty aggressive with your placements and expect that everybody's going to have pretty good plays. Now, one thing I've noticed right here that's a very powerful play is going to be the 5 wheat combined with the 5 ore, and whoever gets that could be sitting very powerfully. And I saw that Gray went ahead and took the best wheat on the board in the 5, got the best sheep that's is connected with one of the best sheep. There's the 8 sheep over on the side that's not going to be taken. So what I really want to do here is I want to make sure that I don't allow Gray to get this 5 ore, and the way to do that is by making sure that my combination will take the other side of that 5 ore. I can't allow him to get that 5, 6, 11. That would be the perfect combination spot for him. He'd head on over to the wood port, and essentially he's going to win the game for sure. So I went ahead and locked up that spot. It's good for me somewhat. I don't really need extra ore, but what I'm seeing is that if I can potentially outrace him down to that wood port, in the 810 wood port on the left there, then I'm going to be sitting pretty powerfully, and essentially I'll be pretty strong for this game. So I like my starting position, especially because I start out with a road. Gray's second spot puzzled me. I don't mind that he took the 11 brick and added some ore to himself, doubled up on his wheat production. The problem is, I think his road went to the wrong direction. I know what he was thinking is that he can block off the entire board once he builds that road to the 4-3. The problem is he doesn't produce a lot of roads. He only has an 11 and a 10 on his brick and wood respectively. So it's really going to be hard for him to expand over there. And I really dislike this play. He's already seen that I've shown that I'm going to head over to this wood port. He must think that if I get this wood port, it's game over, because there's no reason for him to even attempt to try and compete with me there. I have much better wood than him in the 6 wood. It's shared with Out to Live, so Out to Live is not going to block my 6 wood. So it's really only going to be him. If he rolls a 7, he can block the 6 wood. And then secondly, he has the same brick as me. So anytime he gets a brick, it's going to be shared with me. And sure enough, I'm here with 4 ores pretty quickly because of my 5 and my 8. And I'm able to trade in 4 to 1. And I did get a lucky 3. Because I had 4 ores in my hand, I had the option of either getting a 3 or an 11, which would allow me to get my settlement. And this is a spot where, even though I had 4 ores and all I needed was 1 wheat to build a city, there's just no way I'm gonna wait for a city. And this wood port pretty much is it pretty much shuts out IU. IU is now essentially a dead player because he's wasted his hard-earned road. He should have, in my opinion, gone down to the 5 3-1 port to just allow himself to trade in 3-1 because he really needs that in order to build more roads. His expanding capabilities is severely limited now. So here's that 11. It allows me to pair up my wood with my wood, and now I can build a road. Out to live. Now, out to live is decided to expand down to the brick port, it looks like, which doesn't make sense. He must be heading over. Yes, sure enough, he's heading over to the ore. And again, in my opinion, I don't think this should be priority. I think he instead should prioritize getting over to the 8 sheep, adding so going down to the right on his second settlement, or I guess his first settlement, and getting the 8 sheep and the more wheat, getting the 10 wheat. There's no reason to prioritize the ore. He's already got a good ore in 5 ore. So adding more ore really doesn't do anything for him. So there's just, I guess he sees it as defensive. I don't know. I'm not sure why he really decides that that's the priority to head down that direction. And he's moving pretty quickly. I guess in the long term, if he's going down to that ore port on the far right, then maybe that's his play. But that's sure going to take a long time to get there, and he's wasting a lot of roads to set himself up to make that play happen. So just some weird play going on both of these guys' parts, which has allowed me to kind of get a really good setup going. Right now I'm sitting pretty. I got my wood port, which is fairly powerful. I got a 10 and a 6, and as soon as I'm able to upgrade to a city, I'm going to be sitting pretty. And I'm also eyeing to expand up to that 12-9, 3-1. This game's going pretty quickly. Not a lot of sevens are rolling, which is nice for me. I'm deciding I'm not really offering a lot of trades. There's no bricks out there. 11 is the only brick. 12 is not even sat on. 11 is blocked. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, but on the phone, man, sometimes you just can't press these. Can't press the spot. Ooh, ooh, press, and then all of a sudden you try and zoom in, and it like twists the whole board all around. It can be a little quirky to work with. Finally got it to place. So there goes. Got my road, and now I'm, it's gonna be really difficult for Orange to block me now. Now I've cut off his settlements from connecting to secure a long road connection, and essentially when I get this 3-1 port, 12-9, I'm going to be very difficult to block. I have 3 decent wood spots that can all be traded in 2-1. I got a strong ore. I got a little bit of wheat, and a little bit of sheep. So really, I'm a threat to do whatever, multiple things. I can connect my settlements to get longest road. I can wait to get cities with my 8, and once I get cities, I pretty much can choose to go whatever route I want. I can buy development cards. I can buy roads, and I can even do some damage by expanding into other territories. So right now at this point, now that I already have 4 ore. I'm so close to getting a city that no, I essentially have 2 woods and 4 ore. All I need now on a 6 is rolled. Now all I need is either 1 wood, 1 wheat, and a 6 is rolled. So this, I could potentially trade in all my stuff to get the 3-1 port, but this is a time where I go the other route, and just build the city. I'm already ahead. I get my city, and I become very, very powerful at this point because my 6, which out to live, does not want to block. He needs the woods. He should block it if he's trying to stay in this game, but he's likely not to block it. Therefore, it's going to be open unless IU can roll 7s. And therefore, I'm going to be getting 6s. Pair up my 6s with my 8 or even the 5 and hope that I get a couple 4s for wheat. Yeah, I'm in a very, very strong position right now, and I only have 4 points, but I have an open spot to build, and that's going to give me a 3-to-1 port. At this point in the game, yes, I just allowed out to live to get back in the game by not trading in my ore, not doing something with my ore. I guess I could have offered it for a wheat, or I could have even traded it in for a wheat and protected against the potential. There was 2 development cards by IU, and there was 1 in out to live. There is the potential that somebody had a monopoly. So defensively, I could have been a little bit wiser and traded those in. Um, in, but sometimes that just happens, and it worked out nice for out to live. Actually, him using that fairly early is not that big of a deal. He got himself a city. It does make that 5 ore a target, but I don't mind if that 5 gets blocked because it only slows out to live down more than it slows myself down. I still have my 8 ore. So again, I'm sitting pretty. I have now with the hand that I I have options to go ahead and try and get my settlement, or I can potentially already start to buy development cards. I don't even try and trade again. There's no bricks out there, so I go ahead and just get a development card because of my potential to gather so much wood. Then I can start to defend myself by gathering some knights and even start to make my way towards getting the largest army. And sure enough, IU blocks I'm surprised that he blocked the 6 versus the 5 ore. The 5 ore was a little more detrimental to both of us. So this is the expansion that I would have said that Orange should have gone to first. I'm not sure. He wasted 3 roads at the very beginning of the game. And if he had gotten his sheep early, he could have been collecting development cards pretty quickly, and that would have given him some power in this game early on. However, now I'm at a point where I'm very strong. 11 is rolled, and 11 is a great number for pretty much everybody. It hands out the bricks, but it's especially good for me since I am already collecting a lot of wood, and that gives me enough to have some options. I can potentially, I could build a number of things, but I decided to just go ahead and play it safe and do the smart expansion that really should ensure that I'm going to have a powerful place in this game. So I don't have another easy place to build. My options are to build a road right now. Do I want to go ahead and indicate that I'm going to connect my villages together by building the road internally? Sometimes this is a little bit too much. If you're playing 4-player, this is probably not the right play, because then it's for sure that everybody's going to target you. And then any 7 that's rolled, you're going to get blocked. All the knights are going to be played to block you. So, and 3 versus 1 can be pretty challenging. I'm already out in front, and by indicating that I'm trying to connect my centers, my villages together to secure longest roads, then it's ultimately there. You're just asking to be blocked basically the rest of the game. Once they start blocking you, basically, it allows others to kind of creep in. But in a three-player match, especially when gray is so far behind and yellow doesn't yet have a lot of development cards, I felt the safe play was to go ahead and start using my cards whenever I had them and get using them. So yellow just made a very powerful play, built a settlement on the 8 and built another city. Their second city is less powerful than their first city. Their first city really was a good expansion. This second city, um, less powerful, but they're still in good stage. So at this point, here's the question: is yellow has 6 points and it's 6 straight points, six production points. So every point that they have right now goes towards their producing something for them, producing resources. And that's a very powerful position to be in. They 6 is always a number that you want to pay attention to. With anybody with 6, it means that they could potentially be one play away from winning. They can take the longest road and take the largest army, and in one turn, game is over. I go ahead and decide to upgrade my city as well. So here we are. This is a fun stage in the game. I like to compare this. We are essentially deadlocked 4 roads, 2 cities, 2 settlements. He actually has one expansion already available to him. I do not have any more expansions and probably will not expand to build another settlement. The difference is I have no development cards. He has no development cards. The question is, who's at a better stage right now? Again, we're both one road away from longest road. Could easily start buying development cards. And now he's jumped out into the lead and put himself really into a strong position. 10 is rolled. So he's at 7, I'm at 6, and the question is who's more likely to win this game at this stage? Clearly gray is pretty much out of this game, and I decide that the most important thing to do at this point in the game is secure my longest road by connecting my settlements together. If orange blocks this move by me, then I think orange could potentially is likely to win this game. 4 is rolled. So the reason I wanted to show this game, because this is really, it boils down to, yes, having the right cards, but also making the right plays in the later stage of the game. And we are definitely in the later stage of the game. Out to Live is has an open settlement spot there on the 4 wheat. So they can just build that settlement spot and they can sneak in and take the longest road. Game over. So I definitely need to target Out to Live as much as possible. I decided to go ahead and block his 10 wheat. Um, it's not super powerful. It is where he gets his most production from, and I decided to go ahead and stop him from getting his most cards in one roll. Even though on the 8 he gets 3 cards as well, 2 sheep and 1 orb. I didn't feel that I needed to block the sheep at this time. Either way, pretty much any place you block is important. And I decide this was a very, very lucky draw, but important draw, because it allows me to go ahead and get my 3rd knight, and I can trade in to use all my cards to secure my road with 8. That was massive. Now I have the game in hand. Out to Live had the opportunity and decided not to. If he pays attention to his cards, he could have traded in to potentially block off my connection right there and at least expand up to um, six roads, which would have tied me to for no, would have surpassed me with roads. Here and now he decides to go ahead and make his last play because he sees that there's a potential I could be winning. He's looking to trade any anyway to put first he's gonna try and build roads. Actually, what he tries to do is tries to get a settlement. Then I say good game, and he realizes, oh man, now I see if I can get the longest road. Oh, yep, you blew it. Too late, buddy. If you had built longest roads before, if you had built your road before, blocked me off, could have potentially stopped me. And then next thing you know, it would have been a more competitive game. So that's the game. It was essentially it was a battle of out to live versus myself, and I I did get a little bit lucky getting the knights exactly when I needed. So I just passed my 1200. You can see IU had 1245, was already a grandmaster, but had no chance in this game. Just shot themselves in the foot by building that road down to the wood port. Yes, it would have definitely changed the game if he got the wood port instead of me, and I would have been hurting. However, um, based on the cards, it was unlikely that he was going to beat me. I did get lucky too. You can see the dice rolled really nicely to give me lots of sixes, 12 of them, and that was kind of the difference maker, allowed me to be pretty powerful. And there you go. I think Out to Live had a reasonable shot in this game. But once I was able to secure my longest road, that was the game. And yeah, sure enough, it was definitely very close at the end. Could have gone either way. I had just enough and got the lucky knight cards to ultimately allow me to do what I needed to win the game